Alright, today I've got a few things I picked up here. I don't have everything. I picked up a couple of vinyl records at a garage sale, and there was a guy that had a bunch of guitar pieces, there was a neck and 4 bodies or something from electric guitars or whatever, and he said, oh yeah, just take the whole thing for $2 or something like that. So I got everything for $4. Don't have any of that to show. Actually, I know the guy because I've seen him at different stores and I've talked to him, and so I kind of know this guy a little bit, so that was kind of fun. And he gave me his business card and all that fun stuff here. Found a couple things that were steam up pickups, and I would, sometimes, hindsight is 20/20, and I should have bought the entire bin of buttons because they were 4 for $1. Everybody else was at least $1, so that's 4 times the money for those. But a lot of these were 90s. Again, if you know anything about the 90s, it just has to hit the right person, but 90s stuff is super fire. I found some vintage 90s t-shirts that somebody threw back because they were from some local marathons and running clubs and stuff like that. But still, where are you going to find another 90s shirt for, next to nothing? But anyway, this is Save the Ancient Forests, the whole spotted owl type thing there. Again, a lot of these are just unusual. Above the Clouds and Seattle Space Needle. Again, these just have the benefit of being from that particular time period, the 80s and 90s. But where are you going to find another one? You go to eBay, you might find this button for $5, $6, $7, $8, $10, $12, and you got to pay, the package fee because that this is thick, and so there's another like $5, you're $15 on a pin that you could have had for a quarter. And I just like unusual things that kind of remember from my history. I don't know. Washington Park Zoo. Where's that? That's not the Portland Zoo. Oh, anyway, whatever. But anyway, this one here is again probably from the 80s or 90s. I'll cover up the name there. But they were a Washington Park Zoo guide, and these badges, believe it or not, are worth a lot of money. But somebody bought out a whole bunch of badges from one vendor at a show, and I was kind of disappointed because I was starting to look at that, and this lady said, "Oh, those are all mine," and she was a reseller. So figure that one out. And I got another one here, Washington Park Zoo. They were the Packy Award winner, whatever that means. So there's that one. Kind of cool. And we got a few more buttons. I think there was one semi-inappropriate one, but I don't remember where that got put. This is a square button. This one says, Fear fuels hatred, feeds war, or breeds, and it's got Uncle Sam on it, and a very unusual, like 80s type of button, Again, the light is looking very bad here. It's like all washed out in the camera, so hope you can see this. We got Hush Limbaugh. So, Hush Limbaugh, that's kind of a funny there. I mean, you know. And then Eat Chili, it's a gas from Northwest Natural Gas. So that's pretty funny there. I think that's a cool one there. I'll probably put that on something there. So there is that stuff there. I didn't want to get bogged down on that because we got a lot of stuff to go through. I was recording my comic book haul. Unfortunately, it didn't get recorded. These were 50 cents a piece at the Goodwill bin store. They almost never have them, but they were all in a group, and I just took all of them. The Betty and Veronica I could care less about. Even though it was in good condition, I just said, I just can't get that one. Don't need that one. Because I was trying to buy things for a purpose. But I don't have too many of the Spectacular Spider-Man number 143. These things in this condition, this one here is probably, it's not worth $5, but that's what people are asking or more. I saw some of the ridiculous prices. There was a mint comic for $5 somewhere, and then another person was adding, another $45, so $50. And then there's another Spectacular Spider-Man. I don't have very many of those. And these are from the late 80s to the mid 90s, or the early 90s, because they're only $1. So this is probably 1988 or something like that. I think that's what that was. We got a 60-cent Fantastic Four with the black and white cover. This just has not any value. The Amazing Spider-Man is the one I really wanted because I was working on that run for a while. This is number 270, which I'm pretty sure I don't have, so that's cool. Star Trek The Next Generation Q Effects. Again, I don't really particularly care, but that's like $89.90, whatever that is, something like that. This is another dollar comic book. And we got Superman The Secret Revealed. Again, this is another one where people are asking stupid amounts of money for that. And other times people are asking only a few bucks plus shipping. So what is the actual value of this? Probably not more than, what I paid. 50 cents to 75 cents was the original price on that one there. And this is number 2, so I guess it's maybe a special set or whatever, I don't know. And one of my favorite pickups here, unfortunately the cover is almost torn off, this 50-cent Batman number 339. Again, this can be really stupid expensive, but again, just everything. Again, I don't have access to this stuff. Somebody was mentioning in the record groups last night that some of the stuff that they really want is not very valuable, but they're having a hard time finding it, on certain platforms and sort of things. And some of the cards that I'm looking for are not super ridiculously rare or that valuable, but there's only 1 or 2 copies on all of eBay right now in very low grade conditions that are not displaying well. So those have to kind of eventually go. Or I would say go, but what I mean is that, I want a different copy. I don't want that copy, and I'm not about ready to, buy that card, because it's folded in half, it's the only one, and then maybe 10 copies will show up next week. I know some of my buddies who are into collecting, I don't know what that was there, collecting airlines stuff here. This is huge, and I won't be able to show the whole thing, and my laundry, for whatever reason, got hugely linty. I don't know if it was a towel or what happened, but there's just lint all over everything, all on my shirts. And I picked this up, at the same time I picked this up at the bins. Oh, we're going to have to move the camera. But this is a United Airlines jumpsuit. Now, people are asking silly money, like upwards of $100 for these vintage jumpsuits. I couldn't read the tag, but I just, you know what, it looks way too big for me, and it wasn't. But the problem is I can get everything in except for one shoulder. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong or if it's not going to fit, but I just can't get the one shoulder in, but everything else fits good. So I don't know why. I just can't jimmy that last shoulder in there. Maybe my shoulder's bad. I don't know. So maybe it's just a tad too small, but the length is good. Everything else seems to be just about good. So if you're just right on the edge of whatever size that is, the next size would probably be Swamp Me. You know what I mean? So we'll figure out what to do with that. But it was just funny because somebody was wearing a flight jumpsuit. I can't remember if it's American or United. It was a blue one. And everybody just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Again, these flight jumpsuits are, mechanics suit, not flight suit, but these mechanics jumpsuits, people are asking crazy amounts of money on eBay. If it's a lesser known airline, sometimes they don't go for very much. You would think it would be reverse. But, United, American, all that stuff, very, very popular. And then we'll finish off with a few more small pickups here. I got one autograph request mailed out today, or actually it's fun today, but I found the card from the LCS trip. It was, a vintage football card. I say vintage, but it's from like 81. And then I got the address right away. My computer was dragging, so that took a while. And then I said, okay, I need to get something to write on. So I finally found the item to write on, found the envelope, and went upstairs, downstairs, upstairs, downstairs. And it took me about an hour to get that thing put together because I was losing. I had to find the other card, and I had to go this way, and I had to find the envelope, and I had to go re-find the reverse card and go back to this way, and this way, and then I had to go to the computer to do something, and I had to hit something and it just, anyway, it's all together now. But I got some cards at the bin store. These are all I could get. I think I had one more of these birds cards, but I thought these were really cool. It's got a photograph of birds on the back of it in a nest, and then these are bird identification cards. This is the sparrowhawk, bald eagle. It says bald eagle, red-tailed hawk, osprey, and then it says sparrowhawk. So I'm not exactly sure what all of that entails, whether it's a game or identification thing here. And then there's another one here. It says oh my gosh, something catcher, I can't read it, and then it says tanager, killdeer, and then crown set, cedar waxwing. So interesting there. Got a couple of those. I know I have a third one floating around here. And I got a bunch of these top trumps here. Now these are the Deadliest Hunters set, and top trumps are very collectible. I just don't know how the animals are. Some of these were in virtually mint condition, and the rest of them were all beat up. And I just said, you know what, I just can't collect everything. So I'm just going to save a few of these, thinking maybe I could do something with them. There's a lynx. There's a grizzly bear. There's a killer whale. And we have the gray wolf and the lion. I just picked the coolest ones. And again, the coolest ones seem to be the ones in the best condition. And then this is the Deadliest Hunters, and this one is man. So that is crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy, that particular card there. So that is what that is. And again, I had, this weekend is an event, a festival event. That's why there were garage sales, and I was able to hit a few. Nothing, you know, like I said, outstanding. There's a couple records. One of them I can't really show because of the subject matter, a comedy album. Oh, and then I got a couple other things here before I forget. And then the other record was, oh, I don't remember, just Chet Atkins, but it was showing like rows and rows and rows of guitars. I got that from that guy that does all the guitar stuff and makes his own amps. He makes like out of old suitcases and things like that. Cool. This has no real value, but you might remember these here from Lincoln Logs, the 70s Lincoln Logs, maybe the 80s. This is Coming Soon, singer Any Day, appearing at the Lincoln Grand Hotel. These are cardboard, and these are very hard to find. There's haircut 15 cents. They had little stands for these things, and they always got wet or damaged because they were cardboard. But I just thought that was really cool to find that. Again, the Goodwill was just providing all kinds of interesting vintage stuff, but I didn't get to the bins at the right time in the right spot, so all the leftovers. But this was the weirdest thing. I found a VIP. Now, people who go to concerts, this one is Snow That Product. Snow the Product. And I guess Snow the Product is some sort of female rapper, Mexican-American from what I understand, and it's, I guess, Snow the Product or whatever. It's autographed there. So somebody had the meet and greet and ticket upgrade, meet their favorite rapper there, and there's all the concert dates. Some of the videos are like 2 million views and stuff like that, so very influential rapper, and some people are saying that she's the best rapper on the planet or best rapper ever, but it's not my kind of music because it just, every other word has to be bleeped out, so probably not anything that you can put on the radio, but I just thought that was kind of a very interesting pickup there, and again, it was just in leftover stuff. I was just like, wow, this is crazy. I'm finding all kinds, I even found a painting, but that painting is a little on the kind of, you know, YouTube unfriendly side. It's not gross or anything, but it just, I didn't really want to show that kind of stuff on my channel. It's not that kind of stuff, but it's just kind of an old classic painting that shows, you know, some classic things in it, if that makes any sense. So it's kind of a long video, a weird video, but a lot of strange and unusual pickups. I should be in the process of downsizing, but I'm unfortunately in the process of gaining more stuff. And again, it's really hard to, I'm going to go through these comic books again. I'm very scatterbrained, but I'm going to go through these comic books and pick out the ones I need to keep, and hopefully there's no duplicates, but if they are, they're probably not upgrades, but I will get them bagged and boarded if I think I might still have some bags and boards. I'm not sure. Again, all of these things have to, I need to take a break from the collecting and just start getting like pages and bags and boards, and I don't know, I just need to find a good location to do that. I'll do that on Amazon, or I'm sorry, Amazon, eBay or something like that, and pick up some of those supplies, but things are taking their sweet time on eBay. I've had virtually nothing in the box today. Friday is usually a pretty good day, but it just isn't, so whatever. That is what I have, but I just a little bit of something for everybody. If I had some of those other records, I would have showed you them, and these ones I think I've shown in a previous video there, so I don't know, just lots of stuff to go through, and just, oh, and lastly, I saw an old vintage television for $3. The guy said it worked. I didn't buy it, and my friend, turns out he wanted it, but he's in California, couldn't get it, but I went to go back and get it and was gone. And he said, yeah, $3 was a stupid good price. He should have had $30 on it. It probably wouldn't have sold, but that's what the actual TV is valued at on a secondary market, and it's probably worth about $75 to $100 on the thirdary market, you know, on the retail market. That's crazy how that is. But I just don't need another TV, and I would be stuck with it for a while until he'd be able to get that. And I didn't realize he was in California. If I had known that, I probably would have just grabbed it and said, hey, you know what? But I'm running out of space, you know, so that is it. I had some upload issues. Like I said, the other camera cut out because I suppose they ran out of room, and that is it. I would like to talk forever, but I think I've basically worn out my welcome, and thank you for watching.